CSS stands for cascading style sheet. What is CSS?
I did this thing. Now.
Hey.
Madam.
Yes.
Please, it helps us to control how our HTML looks in terms of the colors, the font, the style, and then the spacing as well. So it helps us to be able to put in some styles.
Okay. Thank you, Emma. Emma has defined CSS for us. CSS is used to style our HTML pages in terms of color, in terms of font type, in terms of even positioning. So with CSS, when you want to reposition the structure of your HTML page, it helps you to do that. So how many levels of style sheets do we have? How can we write CSS? That's what I mean.
Please, Madam, is 3.
Mayo Mary.
Please, Madam, is 3.
Okay, thank you. It's 3. Can you name them?
Yes, please. We have the inline, the embedded, and the external.
Okay. External. Thank you, Mary. So those are the 3 levels of CSS. The inline, the embedded, and the what? External CSS, okay? All of them, you realize that they must be included in the HTML page before it can work. All of them, we realize that we attach CSS to a tag, the tag content that you want to style. So if I want to style the content of H1, heading 1, meaning in my CSS, I'll use H1, then I'll write CSS for it. If I want to style a paragraph, meaning in the opening tag of the P tag, I can write CSS there, or I'll go to the in between the head section and add the star there using the P tag, okay? So we use CSS to control how our HTML content should look like. Thank you. So today we are continuing with CSS. So I named this file CSS part 2. CSS part 2. And we're basically going to look at layout, CSS layout. Okay. Okay. This is the objectives for our lesson on CSS layout. By the end of today, we should be able to differentiate the 3 core concepts of CSS layout: the box model, floating, and positioning. You should be able to demonstrate practically the 3 core concepts of CSS layout. So meaning, if you know what they are, you should be able to write CSS for them. All right. So now I'll start with the first one, the box model. Madam. Understanding the box. Hello.
Yeah, please, the screen is not sure. I don't know if it is only my end.
Okay. Maybe. Oh, I think it went out again. I shared earlier. Can you see?
Yes, please.
Can you see? Okay, thank you. All right. So that's the starting, and this is our objectives. We should be able to differentiate between the 3 core concepts of the box model. demonstrates practically the three core concepts of CSS layout. Okay. So now I'm going to start with the first one, which is the box model. The box model. With the concept of the box model, we realize that you are writing your CSS using tags. Okay? You're writing your CSS using stars. With this star, we're saying that every HTML block level element has a potential for a border. Maybe last 2 weeks, we talked about block level element. Block level element will have is a tag that has other tags nested in it. So the paragraph is 1, the H1 to H5, there is 1, and then we have minimum. That OL tag, UL tag, they are all block level elements where you can nest other tags within. Okay. But we're saying that every HTML block level element that I've mentioned has the potential for a border, meaning the content will be in a particular location that is bordered. This border is invisible, okay? It's invisible, okay, in the browser, but you can make them visible. The content of P tag, the content of H1 tag, you can make the border to be visible, but by default, they are not visible, okay? So this element, that is block level element, can have a border, can have a padding and margin, okay? And you can even use CSS to style how this element look like. Looking at the diagram on my right, you see how we can make a border visible. The content will be in the middle. This is the content, okay? Surrounding it is the padding. You can make the padding visible. Surrounding the padding again is the border, which we can make visible. Around all of them is the margin. We'll look at the definition for all this as we go. This is telling us that the box model controls the way elements are arranged and displayed on a page. Your paragraph has a content, okay? It has a content. So you can say the content display and all other things surrounding it should be visible. When a browser draws an object on a page, it places it into an invisible rectangular space called a bounding box. So the white space is your bounding box. The white space where the content is displayed is a bounding box. Mostly the box is invisible. So that's how HTML content display in the browser. The bounding box is invisible unless you allow it to be visible. Okay? You only see the content. For each of these elements that we mentioned, padding, border, margin, we can specify their size. We can specify how they look, maybe in terms of color. You can specify how you can feel it, how when the browser loads. So you can control how they behave. Okay. So when you are talking about the box model, what we're trying to illustrate is that every element in HTML is considered a box. Whether it is a paragraph, a div tag, an image, H1, H2, up to H6 tag, and many more. There are boxes surrounding them. And these boxes consist of padding, border, and margin, which we can control in terms of color, in terms of size, in terms of visibility. Okay. Example. So let's say we have UL tag. UL. This is the opening, closing. OL tag. We want to come out with a list. And with this list, we have nested OL on other lists. Then we have nested what? Other lists, 2 of them inside here. Okay. And we also look at P, paragraphs. Within the paragraph, we have nested strong tag. We have the strong, and then we have the closing strong there. This is making P tag here a block level element. And then at the top here, we have UL tag being a block level element, which we can control. Right. Now, I'm going to describe the element of the box model. Element of the box model, as we said earlier. The box model will consist of the content in the middle, and your content can be text, it can be image, your contents can be anything you want to display to the user, website user, okay? So study the diagram again, okay? When you study this diagram, you realize that the main border surrounding the content that you are displaying is the padding. Is the padding. Surrounding the padding is the border. And after it, the remaining space is the margin. Okay, so that's what we're trying to describe here. So the content is surrounded by padding. So this middle one, the content. So instead of element, let me change it to content. So the content, which can be text, image, whatever, is surrounded by a padding. So therefore say that the padding exists around the content, and it can inherit the background color of the content area. You can use CSS to change it, okay, this color. So for this green, as it is now, is the padding. Immediately after the content, okay, you can set it. Then immediately after the padding, we have the border. So we say that the border extends around the element on the outer edge. So that outer edge of the padding, we have the border. Okay, we have the border. Earlier, when we were designing a table, we said table has no border until you say border equals to 1 as an attribute. Okay, so that's one example of usage of border. Okay, but all other elements also have border. So the border can be of several types, width and color. The border here can be dotted. I can say that CSS should make it dot around the content, around the padding. The border here can be dash. So I will make it dash around this. So that's what we mean by it. The border can be of several types. Now we have the margin. It's the area outside of the element. It never has color. It is always transparent. So when you load your content, you see the white border around that display. So that is the margin. Okay, it never has color. Okay. The CSS box model describes the boxes that are formed around elements in a web page. Okay. So, and this consists of these 4 items that I've just described. These are the border properties. We can set the width, the style, the color for the border. Okay. Earlier I stated that the border can be of several types. Border can be of several types. So those are the types that I've mentioned here again. You can say the border should be dotted around the content, dash, solid, double. So all these are examples of border style. We can also set the width. You can set the width, okay, using any of these units of measurements in pixel, inch, centimeter, etc. You can change the color. Last week we described color. So color can be, maybe you are using color name, S color, or the third one. Who can remind us of the third type of coloring in CSS? This is an example of color name, where I would just say color blue, color red, and here we have what? As the decimal color, which I said it will be preceded by hashtag. Okay? Who can remind us of the next type of color? The third type of color we mentioned was RGB color, where there will be mixture of what? Red, blue, and what? Green. All right. So these are border properties, okay? Now we're going to margin. We have defined margin. It's a space around the element outside the border, okay? Margin property can have negative values so that the content can overlap. You can have overlap content, can be negative. Margin property will affect the position of background elements. Okay, so each property will affect the position of the background element. So if there's other elements at the background, okay, such as graphic, okay, it can affect it. Margin property can be defined independently on top, right, bottom, and left. So when we come to writing the code, you understand it. When you are defining margin, even padding, you have to describe the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. You set the property for how they should display or behave when the page load. Okay. Padding. Padding property cannot have negative value. Okay, the padding. You remember that padding defines the space around the elements, which is inside the border. Okay, so padding property cannot have negative values. Okay. Padding property do not affect the position of background element as we did with margin. Okay, so this is opposite of that. It does not affect the position of background elements such as graphic. Padding property can be defined independently on top, so you can do that also. These four can also be used to define the padding property. All right. So this is how we set the margin. Each of them we are going to describe as setting the margin, setting the padding or border. So setting the margin. To write the CSS for margin, we have to set the top, the right, the margin bottom, margin left, or the what? Margin. So these are the syntax. These are the syntax. If I use the keyword margin alone, margin, it will set for all the four. It will set for all the four. But if I want to set for the individually, if I want to set for margin, the top, the right, the bottom individually, you join them together like this and do the setting. Or I can do it, this is the short form. When I say margin, any value I put here will be for the top. The next value will be right, bottom left. Okay, so that is the differences. Okay. So now, to set, if you have understood the syntax, I'm going to give example here. Example here. If I want to set a margin of 15% on all sides of the bus model, okay? So let me bring a diagram there for you. All right. If I want to set a margin of 15% on all size of the margin, this is your margin. You want to set 15% for all of them. So you set for the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. That's what I mean by setting. So we are setting individually, and they are all the same value. So this is the short form. Instead of saying margin right, margin bottom, whatever, I'll just say margin, column. Then I'll say 15%, 15 space. There should be space here, 15% again, space, 15%, 4 of them. This is the same as what you have done at the top. So I can say that the top is a long form, and this is the short form. Short form. It's the same thing we are doing. But here we are doing it individually, whilst at the bottom we are setting using just a one line of code. All right. Another way we can do what we have done here is another short forms. I can say margin 15% into set for all of them. It's set for all the left, right, bottom, top. Or I will use the two value form, two values. 15% space 15%. Okay. So this will do for the size of the top, bottom. This first value will do for top, bottom. And the next 15 value will do for left, right. Okay. And the other form with the 4 values here. 15 will be for the top. 15, the next 15 will be for the right, bottom, and then what? Left. This is telling us that if you want to set for individual element, okay, you want to set for individual, this form can be used individually. So if I say here should be 25, and yet this remain 15%. Okay. So top, bottom will be set as 25%. Left, right will be set as 15%. Okay. And here too, if I say the first one should be 15, and the next should be 25, the next should be 35, and that should be 45. Okay, 65. It will set differently for the individual top. So meaning the size of the top will be 15, right 25, bottom 35, and then left will be 65. Okay. Okay. With this example, we said to set a margin of 15 pixels on all sides. These are the three approaches you can use, or you do them individually. Okay. Now, we're going to look at example of how the margin, the padding, and whatever I've talked about how it works. Okay. This is your HTML with CSS. But with this CSS, I'm trying to set the margin. So I'll put it in a text editor so that you can see it clearly. Okay. So this is my text editor. This is our text editor. So that I can see it clearly. All right. So let's save the first one. Let's save it. Switch practice 2026. So we have up to practice 5. So I will put this one practice 6. Practice 6. .html. .html. All right. The quotation is now off. It's wrong here in this environment. Okay. So now we have our code. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at the HTML we have here with CSS. Here we have incorporated CSS. Look at that. The head section. Our CSS is at the head section. Head section. Who can tell me what type of CSS is this? Hello? Yes, who can tell me what type of CSS is this? We have included CSS at the head, in between the head tag. So what form of CSS is that?
Madam, inline.
No.
Embedded.
Embedded, thank you. It's embedded or internal. They are all the same. So not inline. Inline is written within the tag, within the opening tag.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Thank you. So that is the CSS we have here. So looking at this CSS, we're going to start using the boss model. The boss model. Look at what I have here. The body tag, the body. I've written CSS for it. We have CSS for the body tag. CSS for the body tag. Okay. Body tag. Then we set margin 0 PS. So the margin should be 0. So using margin 0, meaning top, bottom, left, right, all should be set to 0. You remember this method, right? Yeah. Where I said, if you say margin 15 PS, so you are telling the browser to set 15 PS for all the corners. Okay, for all the corners. So for this CSS, we say body. For the body tag, margin should be 0 PS. All right. Another tag we have set for is the div tag. The div, for every div tag, we say the width should be 250, height, border. This is the boss model, the border. This section is the boss model. So for this border, we say it should be 5 PS, solid, color black. Solid means it should be bolded. You see spaces in between them. Color should be black. The 5 PS, who can tell me what this 5 PS will do for the border?
Madam.
Yes.
Madam, it will give the border 5 pixels width.
No, look at it again. 5 PS. They are say solid, black. Wait, Dako.
Okay, so madam, the top, bottom, left, right, all will have a 5 pixels border.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But I wanted to
I just explained what this is doing. Margin 0. It does for all the corners. So that, thank you, Dako. So 5 PS will be set for all the corners. Left, right, bottom, top. Okay. So this is where the concept of boss model is, and here for body tag for this code. All the rest you should understand from our last week lecture. Okay.
Madam.
Another div. Hello, I'm continuing. Another div is here. With this div, we say hashtag D1. It's a div tag, all right, but we have given it ID. The ID is D1. Okay. We say background color red, margin 15%. This is boss model. So what will the margin 15% also do? Yes, that way again.
Okay, so again, the top, the down, the left, right will have the same pixels.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's the concept of boss model that we're talking about. So from the beginning, you can see that we have boss model set for margin, for border, for under div with ID D1, margin is set. Div tag with ID D2. What do you have? 15% is also say margin. Then div tag with ID D3. There's no boss model. We are just saying background color blue. But div tag with ID D4 is a background color and the margin 15%. So this is where we have mentioned the ID. Look at the first div tag. The first div tag, ID equals D1. The second div tag, ID equals to D2. The third div tag, ID equals to D3. ID equals to D4. So that's why we have set something for all of them. We have given ID for 4 div tag. But the first one, div, is without ID. The first div is without ID. And that means it will apply to all of them. This is an addition to for D1, addition for D2. Okay. So let's see how this will look like. This is our folder. So I'll look for practice sets. It's here. Okay. This is our setting. This is how the setting will look like. Okay, this is how the setting will look like. All of them will have width 250 because they are in div tag. Height 100 pixel, all of them because they are div tag. Border 5 pixel solid black. All of them will have this property. Color black. Okay. Color black. All of them will have the color black. Color is for the text. The text color should be black. Font width bold. The text should be bolded. Text align center. All the text should be centered for the div tag. So all of them are div. But the div tag with D1, ID D1, the background color should be red. So you can see the first one, the background color is red. Margin 15%. Margin is set to 15%. So when you come to div with ID D2, background color green. Okay. So there's something wrong with this code. We cannot see green here. So D2, the background color should be green. Margin 15%. Okay. For the D3, div with ID D3, this addition is a background color blue. So that one, the code is working. So D3 is 3, background color blue. Then the last one, color yellow, background color yellow. Know how to set your background color in CSS. And then margin 15%. 15%. So now look at in between the D2 and then D3. Do you see space between them? No space. In between the the border of the two. No space between them. Because we didn't set the margin. D3 has no margin. So it's sort of merged with the D2. Then when you come to D4, D4 set the margin 15%. So you see, surrounding it will be 15%. So that's what we just did. All are div tag. So all div tag will inherit this property from this to that. But D1, we said there should be addition. So div hash D1, you have this addition. Okay. Okay. So let me see again. Is somebody hand raised? I don't know. Okay. So now we are going to another of this property. So this one we just demonstrated. Okay. This always give a problem. Yes.
Okay, madam. Please, I wanted to know, here you had a solid, and then in HTML we have the strong. So I wanted to know
Yes.
if the difference between them. Is it for strong for text and then the solid for shapes, or?
It's CSS. CSS, right? Strong is a tag. And it's HTML. Okay.
Okay.
It's HTML. So when you are doing applying style using CSS, that you use what?
Solid.
What do you use? Solid. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So where's the slide? Okay. Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
please, I've been using the hexadecimal code that you use 6 digits. I've been using 4, but they work. I don't know whether they are different.
You've been using 4.
Yes, like 000 for black, FFF for white, but they work. 4 digits.
FFF, 3FF.
Yeah, 4FF.
Oh, wow. Okay, I never tried that anyway.
Yes.
So maybe the browser is considerate. Okay.
Yes,
I
madam.
never tried that. This is the standard. What I know
Okay.
is that the RGB color, it should be of 3 digits. Yeah, not 4. RGB will be
But
of
I'm
3
talking about the
with
hexadecimal.
hashtag. With hashtag.
Yeah, with hash.
Okay. So I'm not trying it. I'm teaching the standard to you. Do you understand?
Okay, madam.
When you write that one for me, I'll mark it wrong. Even if it's not me. If it's online, do you understand?
Yes,
If it's
madam.
online, the answers is already taken for S color should be hashtag and then 6. Do you understand? 6 other this mixture.
Yes,
So
madam.
the system will automatically mark you wrong. Yeah, we are
Okay.
talking about standard here.
Thank you, madam.
You are welcome. All right. So we have looked at how to add border margin. Okay, that is what we've added here. So if you go to this exercise, we say modify the above CSS to produce the following. No margin around the first color block. Okay, you don't have a margin. A left side margin of 15%, a top margin of 5%, and no bottom margin around the second color block. Okay. So all these are different questions, different exercise. Okay. No margin around the first color block. Okay. And theory part of question can look like this. So to answer a question of this, you have to study which one. This is our syntax. This is the syntax. This should be on your fingertip. The first digit you give is for the top. The next is right. The next bottom left. Okay, so you have to study this to be able to do our exercise. Okay, to do that exercise. Okay. So looking at the exercise here, we say no margin around the first color block. No margin. So who can test that to us, the answer? So we realize that Who can tell us the answer for no margin around the first color block? Okay. Dako again, yes.
Okay, madam. I wanted to be clear on this one. Can I set it to 0 or omit the margin at all?
You have to write it.
Oh, okay.
You are telling the browser what to do.
So I'll set it to 0 pixels.
Okay. So it will be margin colon 0 pixel. Is that not it?
Yes, please. And then semicolon.
Semicolon. Thank you. Thank you, Dako. Then let's do the second one. All of us, let's do the second one. It will ask you even objectives. It will ask you this question like this. Then you look and select which one is the answer. If it's theory, you have to do it. A left side margin of 15 pixels, a top margin of 5 pixels, and no bottom margin around the second color block. So who will tell us the answer? Yes. Richard.
Yeah, madam, let me try.
Okay.
Yeah. Since you say we start from the top right, I think we'll change the order. So it will start with the margin semicolon, margin column. The first one will be the top, which will be 5 pixels.
Yes.
Followed by let me see, margin 15 pesos, top margin 5 pesos, no button. And then the right one will be margin semicolon 0 peso. Button will be also 0 peso. Then the left one, which is the last one, will be 15 peso. In that order.
Thank you. Yes, you are right.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Richard. Thank you.
I'm happy
thank
you.
Madam.
Hello. So
yeah. So wait. I want
it's
to.
correct.
I want to add. Yeah, I wanted to add with the shorthands.
Yeah. Okay. The shorthand. Okay.
That will also be 5 pesos, 0 pesos, 0 pesos, 15 pesos.
Thank you. So it's easy, huh? So you mention margin column. Then you do what? 5 peso, you terminate semicolon. 0 peso, you terminate. 0 peso, you terminate. Then what? 15 peso, then you terminate. All right. So when you go, you get this, no, do the rest. Okay. There were a theory question like this some year back. Okay. So now, changing the style of example 1. So example 1 that we did, okay? We're trying to change the style here. So let's see what is different. What is the difference? Okay, in this example. All right. Because of time, we'll proceed. It's the same, we just change some star within here, okay? Now, I'm going to setting the pattern. We have done margin, right? Margin and border. Now we are going to setting the padding, okay? Remember, padding adds space inside the rectangular area of an element. So if you know how to do the margin that we finish, you'll be able to do the padding. This is the long form. Padding top, you set the value. Padding right, you set the value in that order. Or you use the short form. So the short form is here again. It's the same. You use the short form. Okay. This is the other form of the short form. As we did with margin, it's the same. But instead of margin, you use the word padding. Padding colon 20% will set for all the size. Okay. We'll set for all the size. All right. Okay. So this is for display one value. It will set for all the size. Okay. Then, sorry, here should be padding. So this will also do for padding because they are the same, right? Paddings. All right. So this is the 4 value types. The 4 value types, which you set for all the paddings. Okay. All the paddings. Paddings, all the paddings. Starting from top, right, bottom, left. Okay, the same as we did earlier. So, margin. We'll run one example of the margin, then we'll see how the margin also work. You use the box model whenever you want to display content with borders, with the surrounding borders. Okay, that is when we use this type. We are going to create a new document. Then we add our next example. With the next example, we are demonstrating padding. Padding. We are demonstrating padding. Okay. So with the same diff in the body, I'm going to take this from the body that I've corrected. But this also have that problem from the body. Okay. So let's save this example as practice 4. Oh, no, 8. Okay, practice 7. HTML. Practice 7.html. Yes. All right. Practice 7.html. And as I said, we are demonstrating padding. Okay. With this example, we set CSS for them all div tag. So it will apply to all of them. Our concern is here, ID D1. We said padding should be 15%. Okay. D2, ID, div with ID D2, we say this is our concern. Padding, the first, we have 25%. Okay. 25 peso, 50 peso, 6 peso, and then what? Another 6 peso. For the different part of the corners. So we say top, right, bottom, left. Our top is here with 25 peso. Okay. For the next, D1, D3, ID D3, we say padding should be 6, 6, 6, but the last should be 50 peso for the left. For the left. 50 peso. Then the last one, we say padding 50 peso. Again, this 50 peso will be set for all the 4 corners. Top, right, bottom, left. So 50 peso for all of them. Okay, so that is where the padding is set for the IDs, div with IDs. But all the div tag will inherit these properties and their values. All of them should have width of 250 peso, height, that border. Okay. All right. So now we're going to look at practice 7. How the padding look like. Practice 7. Practice 7 is here. Okay. Practice 7. Okay. All right. So D1, we said width should be 250. Width 250, height 100, border 5 peso solid black, color black for the border. No, the text color should be black. Font width bold, margin 25. We set the margin for all of them, 25. Okay. Then for the D1 we say color red. Text align center. Padding 15 peso. Padding 15 peso. Okay, we set. Then we have D2. This is what we have. Color green. Text align right. You can see the text has moved to the right. Padding 25 peso. 50. 6 and what? 6. Bottom and then the left. Bottom left 60 peso. 6 peso for the padding. Then we have the D3 is here. Color blue left. Text align left. That is the blue color. And then the padding 6 peso for all the 3 corners. But the left should be 50. Left should be 50 pesos. And the last one, background color what? Yellow. Text align center. Okay, it's also center. Padding 50 peso. Okay, it's set for that. And that's just our content for all of them. All right, so now we know how to set padding and then what? Margin. Those are what we have just covered. Okay, these are what we've got there. Okay. So what did I say? I said margin adds space to the outside of elements. And then padding adds space inside the rectangular area of an element. And so that's our conclusion. Okay. So if you look at our output, inside, outside, padding is the inside. You can see the distance based on your settings. You can see the distance. Here we say 6 stop. Here we say 50. So the top, you see how it's demarcated. So that's about bus model. And I have a question here again. If you create a star rule for an element that establishes a width of 50 pixels and a height of 30 pixels, and then set the padding of the rule to 5 pixels, what will be the size of the remaining content area? Somebody answer. Hello, Richard.
Yeah, madam, I wanted to ask a question, but I think you have explained it. You know, when we're doing the padding, I wanted to ask, how do you differentiate between the padding and then the margin?
The margin.
But you have
Okay,
explained it, and then I got it. So thank you, madam.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So now we have finished the first objectives. That is about the box model. Okay. So now you should be able to explain the box model and the element of the box model. Who can remind us the element of the box model? The content, the margin, the padding, okay? Those are the elements. Now we are going to look at the float, CSS float, okay? When you think about float, you use it when you want to wrap content around other elements. For example, if I want to write text around pictures, so I'll think about using float. So float also has its properties that you set. The same way we did with the box model, the concept of float is different. We want to use another element around the other, you should think of float. Okay, all right. The float property determines which side of the bounding box the elements align. The element should align or move to. Okay, so which side of the bounding box? Still think about the bounding box, that it has top, right, bottom, wherever. Okay, then we use float property around the element. Note that the float property will allow element to be moved around the design. You can use it in conjunction with images or any object on the stage or that you want to display in the browser. Note also that elements can move horizontally, not vertically, when you are using the float property. The element that you want to star or move around can only move horizontally from left to right, not vertically. So you cannot have top buttons as the value. So that's why when you are using floats, the values can either be right or left. Note this. So I can say P, float left, float right. So the content will move to the left or right of the other item. Example, if you have 3 div float value of left, the three of them, you set them to left, div tag, and you say float left for all of them. they will all line up to the left of the containing body element. So they continue moving to the left. The second one will move to the left of the other. However, if you have your divs within another div, nested, a div tag nested within another div tag, they will line up to the left of that element. Okay. This is the syntax for writing, for using float. This is our syntax. You use the keyword float, colon, then you add the position. As I said earlier, the position can be left or right. I don't use none because, let me remove the none. The none can be a value if you are working within code. Within code, then you set one to none. But mostly, because of horizontal movement, the float are having these two values. Okay. When you set the float to either left or right, it will move the particular object, to move it to those positions, the newly demarcated position. Okay. This is an example of float, how it display. You have moved element from somewhere and you say display on this test. Display there, display there. Okay. Float can be used within your context. Okay. This is example now. 3 values option example. We have seen the syntax. Now we are seeing example. Float left, float right, float none. It's easy. This is easy to do. If you want to restore the normal flow of an object, use the clear. You use clear. Okay. This is what example here. Clear left, clear right, clear both. So meaning you should reposition both left and right objects. Okay. All right, so this is how you can use float. With this float, we are going to work with a div tag first. Another float will work with image. Okay, so we are working with div tag to see how the float work. Okay, I'll put it in the text editor so that you can see clearly. So open a new text editor. New text editor. And the code continue from here. So again, I've seen that the quotation is wrong. So I will borrow it from here, where I've corrected it. From body tag to the ATM. Sorry. Body tag to ATM. From this to ATM. So the quotation is wrong again here. So the text editor form should be used. Okay. Okay, save your work, save. Now we have practice 8. Practice 8.html. HTML. Okay. Practice 8.html. Okay. Again, our CSS start from here, star type equals to 10/CSS. So it's inside the head tag. It's inside the head tag. So this make it embedded system, CSS, internal CSS. It is not inline. It's not inline, internal CSS or embedded CSS, okay? Again, you must start your embedded CSS using the star tag. And you must mention the type, MIME type, okay? Inside the star opening tag. Now, we have applied CSS to the body, margin 0 again, okay? Div, we set the div. All here is the same as what we did before. The div, have it sent 250, 100%, whatever. So it's the same. The only modification we did to our code is that we added the floats. We said D1, div tag with D1 should float left. Background color for the D2, which is green, should float left. Again, all of them, D3, float left. But only D4, we say float right. It's the same code though. The same code as what we use for margin, padding, whatever. The only thing we've added is the float CSS. CSS rule for float. Left, 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 right. Okay. So now let's look at our D8. D8 is here. Wow. So instead of lining down, this is our original padding, margin, and what have you. But now we said they should move. D1, then we said D2, flow left. So it display on the left of D1. And then here to D3, div, ID number 3, we say float left. Let me see the code again. All right. Look at that. D1 left, 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 and then that we say what? D4 right. D4 right. Okay. Okay. So D4 start floating at the far right of your browser. Far right of the browser. Okay. Are you okay?
Yes, madam. Madam, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, so please, assuming you make D4 also left, will you also follow in that order?
It will move closer. It will move closer to the, what do you have here?
Blue.
Number 3.
Okay.
So let's try that and see. So D4 left, move to left. And we'll save our work. And we'll refresh. Have you seen that?
Okay.
To move closer. And the spacing between them, you can see that there's a space up there, right? Of all of them. And there are spaces in between them. All are set within the main div. Look at that. All are set within the main div, where we say, this is for their size. the width, and then this is for the height. All these are set for all of them, okay? The margin 25%. Margin 25%. It's also set for all the corners. Okay, all the corners. Okay. So let's if you see D1, you just say move. Okay. Margin. Okay. You can see the margin around them. Okay. So now we have looked at float in time using the div tag. Okay, div tag. All right. So now we want to look at float in terms of image. In terms of what? Image. We know how to add image to our website using the IMG tag. Using the IMG tag. SRC mentioned the image name, the file name. And here is our star. So who can tell me what kind of CSS is this?
Madam, inline.
Inline, thank you. Inline, thank you. So this is inline CSS. Within the IMG tag, we say start equals float colon right, semicolon. It's inline. Margin, we set the margin left 0.35 inch. Left of the image to the text, there should be this. There should be the distance. Margin bottom, the text shouldn't come closer to the image. Then you set the space as well. That is CSS. With the margin left and margin bottom, all these text will come closer and flow around the image. Okay. So we're going to add image to one of our files. So when you take your file, this is one of our files. Okay. Before the closing body tag. So now let me see a file with text. So the paragraph already there. Practice 1. Yes, practice 1. I'm going to use practice 1. Practice 1. So I'm opening practice 1 in your open. I want to open practice 1. This one. Okay. Okay, good. Good. So imagine after this paragraph, after that paragraph, so I want to add an image. I want to add an image. Okay. Okay. So let's look at our folder. What type of image? What type? Let's look for an image file in our folder to add. Okay. Let's look at an image file. This is an image. So let's say I'm adding joy of football. Joy of football. And it's what type of image? JPEG, JPG, JPG. Okay. Joy of football. So joy of football. Dot JPG is the same extension, so I'll leave it like that. So src joy of football dot JPG. So I'll save this work. Okay. This is our practice one already, so I'll refresh. You see that the image is not showing. Is the image icon? It's here. It's not showing because it's in
Maybe
the
the
what?
name.
The folder. We didn't mention the folder name. The image is in a different folder.
Yeah.
And the folder name is images. Images. So you have to add the images. Images slash joy of football. Okay. So this is the all right. And I'm trying to minimize. Okay. All right. The images, we have to reduce the size. The whole image is there. So basically, this is what I'm trying to demonstrate. Basically, what we have paragraph flowing around the image until after the image you see space, and then space. That's what we have done. Okay. So let me go back to the image. Then we'll reduce the size. Who can tell us how we will reduce the size of the image?
Madam,
Yes.
you can reduce by using height and then width.
Thank you. So you come in between here. Then you add the width. Width. So what width do we put?
Please, we can use 500.
Let's say 50. 500 will be big. Let's try the 50 first. Sorry. For this my okay. With 50 height. I'll make all of them 50-50. Height column 50. PS. Okay. So here let me make it PS. Okay. It's not working. There's problem here. Okay, it's small. 50-50 is small. Somebody said 500.
But 500 is also too big. Madam, let's
Madam,
use 200.
250.
Something like 200.
Madam, 250, 250.
250,
Yeah.
250, 250. It is small. Let's try is 500. Let's see. So even the 250 also is small. Our content.
Madam.
Hello.
Then the margin too need to be considered because the margin is too wide.
And
Margin
madam
left.
also.
It's not like so inch. Okay. So maybe the pixel. Yeah. Okay. So is yeah. And our paragraph is sending there. That's why. You're not saying the paragraph, one paragraph is sending there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk
That's
about.
the paragraph doesn't go through the page like this one. Okay. So what I'll do also is I move this code. So we can move the code here. Since the paragraph starts from here and answer. Okay. It won't work because the paragraph ended before I bring this. Okay. So basically, that's how we add image with float. You want the image to flow to the right or left of the text. So okay. So the image here are smooth, okay, to the right, or you change the right to left. Okay, left. Okay. So we can see what we have. So you can set the margin here too. The margin. Margin left, margin right. So we can also set margin right. Based on what I display now. So the right of the image, margin right. Have you seen this one now? It has move the text right of the image. Okay. And the text will flow around it. Okay, so that is another use of float property. Okay. All right. So the last part of the positioning is CSS. We are going to look at CSS positioning. That is our last part of the objectives. Okay. So position properties is what we are going to study. And this was the time W3C released it, 1997. So it has been there for long, CSS position. And most current browser support it. Okay. So the core concept of CSS layout, the third one, is CSS positioning. CSS positioning will allow you to manually position elements using specific coordinates. Okay, to position element using specific coordinates. Okay. Initially, when you design your website, you realize that the elements, the image, the text, the video, the audio, they have their default settings. They have their default settings. And the way you've written them is the way they flow. The way you have written yours, this was our first one, second, third. This is the same way they will flow. But we can use CSS positioning to move elements even on top of each other. You can stack all these elements together. Where I will say div D2 should be on top of this. This should be on top of them. That is called stacking. So element positioning can enable you to do that. Okay. Example, to place a box 20 pixels above and 50 pixels to the right of its parent origin can be done using CSS position. The possible value of positioning are static, relative, absolute, and fixed. The values for the position can be any of these. Okay. All right. So if you say the value is static, okay, it will remain the way you have set it up. If you say value should be relative, it should move the element and then deviate it from its original position. It will move it from this original position based on your value and place it there and display it there. Okay. And the absolute position can totally move elements to a new location. So if this one is even the last element, I will say display it at the top. Absolute. With fixed positioning, I will let the element will remain wherever it is fixed. It will remain there. So even if there are other content and you are scrolling down, the content will also be remain as where it is. So if the value is fixed, the element will remain where it's supposed to be displayed forever, even if you are scrolling the text. Other element, you are scrolling the page, okay? Even if you are scrolling the page, this element will remain where it is. Only the other content will be scrolling. This will never scroll. All right. Hello.
Madam, please, is there
Yes.
any striking difference between the static positioning and the fixed one?
Yes, please. Starting position is a default browser placement. The default. So as you put element one after the other, they will display as you have written the code. If I have written H1 first, it will display first. The next line I've written, if it's a paragraph, it will display next. So that is static. It's the default position. Okay. But there's a fixed one. Fixed one. You are telling the browser that this element should remain where it is, even if the content are scrolled. Are you okay?
Yes, madam.
Madam,
Abudu.
Madam,
Yes.
I've also seen one that is sticky.
Mm. You saw it where?
I was learning. I saw it. Is it W3 schools? They say that I've even practiced it. When you set the value to sticky, it's more or less like the fix, but it can move to some point. You set a limit, maybe margin of 50 pixels. It will be fixed over there. It can move again.
So are you telling me that sticky is the same as fix?
No, but at some point that one you can customize it. Maybe position is sticky, then you set it to maybe when it is at margin of 25, it will be fixed over there. It cannot move again.
That's why my face also work.
But the fix, when I tried it, that one, when you screw it, it won't go anywhere. It will be fixed over there.
Yeah, it will remain
But with the
there.
sticky, it will move to some level, then it will stand there. For instance, when you open
because of your margin, because of the margin, whatever other thing you have set, right?
Yes.
The other property.
Yes.
So you do without certain other properties. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Set the sticky without certain other properties. Set the fix without certain other properties. Okay.
When it is not set, when other properties are not set, it will still move to the window, the browser, the window where the window ends, as the top. By default.
Okay. So let me continue with my notes. You understand?
Okay, madam.
Madam.
Yes.
Please, I beg you, can you elaborate on the absolute for me one more time?
I'm going back. I will get there again. I'm still going to explain.
Okay.
I'm still going to display. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to, as I continue with my notes, we're going to look at them one after the other. Okay. All right. So CSL positioning, there are different types of position that you can apply, as I said earlier. So these are the 4 again. Looking at position, we said the value can be static. That is default position. Default for every browser. Then when you say relative, it will offset from its normal static position and place the content depending on your value. Okay. Absolute. When you say the value is absolute, okay, position absolute. okay, is a fixed position within its containing elements. But based on other setting, it can move content to a new position. Okay, then the last one, fixed, is within the browser window. So we want the element to remain within that particular location that you have set it. Okay. Property may be top, bottom, left, and what? Right. You can move element around to top, bottom, left, and right. Okay, the box corners. So here we are we are used to these values already. This is within. Okay, John have to mute himself. Okay. Now we're going to look at the relative position. Relative. With relative position, okay, we're saying that elements, either it is text, image, or a div, okay, should stay exactly where it is in relation to the normal flow. And now, based on your value of the position, it will deviate it either to the right, to the left, based on your top, left, or bottom values. Based on your value. Okay. For example, this is, who can remind us what type of CSS is this? This code here. So, hash my box. Hashtag my box.
ID. Madam ID.
ID. Thank you very much. So this is an ID. We have set an ID, my box. Okay, we set ID, my box. So it's, the rules are here. Property value. We say position relative. Position relative. So we want to place this element in a particular location where we are setting the value as relative. And we are telling the browser that the deviation should be done left 20% and then the top 20% in relation to where it's supposed to be. So let's consider this was initial display of a div tag. Initial display of a content. Content 1, content 2, content 3. But now we are going to use position. We set the value as relatives. Left to be 20% and then top 20%. So we want it to deviate from original display. We should set the distance from the top to be 20%, from the left 20%. So this other one will remain, but in between them, there will be distance of 20% from the left. The top where it's supposed to display, it should deviate from that 20%. Okay, so the element will now display here. Because of position relative, it will deviate from its original display position based on our value. And our value here, we've only mentioned what? 20%. And then what? Left 20%, top. That's all. You see where it display. Displaying here makes it joined with box 3. You can say it's a join with box 3. Okay. What you should understand clearly with relative is that based on its original position, the element would deviate based on our setting and display there. Okay. However, if we say position absolute, the same code, I have changed it. Position absolute. We are telling the browser that it should remove the element from its original position and display it based on our setting. It will remove it totally. It will not deviate like what we have here. remove it totally, and then based on from the browser that you have opened, you should set left 20% and then what? Top 20%. Absolute. Absolute will look at the browser location where it's displaying. Set the move the top 20% and then from the browser again 20% and remove the element totally and display it there based on your setting. So that's what we have written here. An absolute position bus is taken out or offset from the normal flow and position in relation to its nearer position ancestor. So wherever you have set. So if there's no ancestor bus, it will position in relation to the initial containing block. Okay. So because there's another box here, there's another box here. Absolute will remove this one and place it based on your setting. Okay. Relative, you cannot move element totally. It will rather deviate. Absolute, we can remove the element and position it. You are telling it the measurement should take place from the browser top and left. Relative, you are telling the browser that the measurement should be from the initial element that is displayed, top and what. All right. And now, if we say face position, it's a subcategory of absolute position in that you're telling the browser to display whatever element you want at a particular location. All right, so it will display it there. So when the content is even scrolling, that element remains fixed at that particular location. So we said it's a subcategory because if in my code, we have this content here, and I said position absolute. Position absolute. Okay, and I set the value. Top left, I set the value. Okay, it can move this element from there. It will remove the content from here when it displays in the browser and display it at that particular location in the browser. Okay, it will no more flow after that. After the top, sorry, it will not flow or display here. It can move this image, for example, to the top of the browser, and display it at wherever I've set. Okay, face position example is here. Okay. All right. That example of fix. Okay. 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 What is position face? Okay. I want to see that we have example code to demonstrate that. So yeah, I explained them again. Positioning. Dealing with images. Okay. Okay. All right. So I was here, and this is the example. Then dealing with image. So I'm going to remove the image, the span. This is what? Span example. Span example. Span. Okay. This should follow the image. The float image that we did earlier. I'll move it back there. Okay. But I want to just to look at the fixed. Okay. All right. So this example of absolute position. Absolute position. So let's say our style is in between the head section, and we set a ID pin box, and these are the properties and their values within the ID pin box. We say position absolute, width is set, background color is set, left, top, height are all set. For this particular ID, we have closed the rule here. Then we close the star. So if in the body section, and I have div ID equals to pin box, ID equals pin box. This is a 200 by 200, whatever is written. Then I close the div. So what have I done? From this ID, I've referenced it here in a div tag. And these are the content of the div tag. Position absolute. Okay. Now, we can add that rule to one of our exercise today. Already we have div tag here. So I'm going to add the ID rule. We're going to add that rule inside our CSS. So before the closing CSS tag that I have here, we're going to add hashtag pink. Hashtag pink box. Pink box. Hashtag pink box. So I'm going to close that. All right. So in between now, we're going to add position absolute. Position absolute. Now for my symbols, I can't find it. All right. I can't find my on the keyboard. Position absolute. Then we have width. 200%. Yes. We terminate. Then we have background color. Background color Okay. We terminate. Left. 0%. Now what again? Top. 150%. Now 50%. Height. Height is 200. Yes. All right. I think that's all. So we've added this invoice code here. ID. We set the ID and we define several position properties and then properties and values. This is our closing inside the CSS head session. CSS head session. Okay. All right. So save. Now I'm going to add another div. Let me make it bigger. We're going to add another div. So with this div, our ID is equal to what we set here, ping box. So ID equals to ping box. Okay. All right, so different content here. Content can be D5. Okay. So I've added another CSS to practice 8. Practice 8. Okay. And with the practice 8, inbox. Okay. So let's see how it works. Because already we have setting for width and height here. And here we have width and height again. It's going to affect the room. So let's see which one closer. Closer one. Let me. I'll display practice 8. Practice 8. Practice 8. Okay. Practice 8 is here. The div ID 5 is there. Okay. And that is absolute. So the same way you saw absolute position, then was 200 width, height 200. Okay, so let's see which one is displaying. 200 width, Height also 200. That's what is displaying there. And that's our background color. Then the next thing within the code, the ID code, background color is the same. Left 0. 0%. Okay. So let's see how that one too is. Left 0%. Okay. 0%. Top 150%. This one is not working well because of the nothing is set here for top. The for all the div tag. For all the div tag. Div tag. It's not working here. So if you put the code in a different text editor, let's put our code in a different text editor. So I'm going to resave this file, save as practice 9. Practice 9.html. Okay. .html. Okay. And I'm going to have only the ID. Yes, this one. Good. We are going to have only the absolute, the one with the absolute here. Okay. So, we want to see what our CSS is doing. So we have only this one, div one. Okay. So we'll go to our browser and open practice 9. Okay. Thank you. So this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see because of our setting. Now, the only thing we have set is ID, inbox. Then we wrote property value for all this. Left 0 PS, meaning there shouldn't be distance between the edge of your browser, okay, and the content display. So 0. So that's why there's nothing here. It's closer to your end of the screen. Compare it to here. We have some distance. We have some distance. So practice 9. You can see that no distance here. Okay. Okay. Width is 200. Background color is pink. Left is 0. Top 150. So between the top of your browser to the content you are displaying, there should be distance of what? 150 at the top. Then the height is 200. The height here is 200. So nothing is impacting on this display. And you can see the border is not black like the one we have there in the other CSS. This border was set. So yeah, no any border set. So absolute position has made that happen. Totally, it will move the content from where it should have displayed to this location, and then set all the properties and their values in there. All right. With this example, we have dot offset. Who can tell me what type of CSS is that? Dot offset.
Madam Class.
Class, thank you.
Yes.
This is class. This is class. Then we write property value for all of them. Then within our body, the body is what we want the user to see. You come and apply the CSS in the body. And this CSS is applied within span tag. Span, we say class equals to offset. Simple. All right. Class equals to offset. So this part is 9. Okay. That is 9. Okay. Position absolute. So I'm going to add that to this code. I'm going to add a relative here within the star tag. But with this example, we have dot offset, and we say position relative. Top, we are setting top and left, so I'll leave that one. Top is 150. Left is what? 50. Nothing else. All right, so we are done with this one, offset. Okay. So we are going to borrow a paragraph somewhere. It's about table. That is 1 is here. That is on half paragraphs. So I'm copying these 3 paragraphs to that is 9. I'm going to add the paragraphs. The paragraphs are ending there. Okay. 2 paragraphs I've added. Okay. So in the second paragraph, we're going to reference the class. So we say class equals offset. Class equals offset. After every equal sign, you should add quotation. Offset, dot offset. You don't come here and say class equals dot offset. No. Class equals offset. Remember the ID too. Hash pink balls is an ID. So when you come, ID equals to pink balls. So it's easy. So practice 9. Let's see practice 9. Wow. Have you seen that? This paragraph, the first paragraph, below our code, right? Below the code. Below the first div tag. Then the second paragraph is here. And because we have set position relatives, this one position relative left 50 and then 150 for the second one, or the second paragraph. The initial paragraph, there's no CSS for it. No CSS. So that's when to display first. First paragraph display first. First paragraph displays first. Already we have told this box to move down with 150. Move down. Okay, so meaning the top was set to 150 peso. After this display, the second paragraph, look at where it started. The second paragraph. So second paragraph is position relative, left 50. Meaning it should deviate from where it's supposed to display. Left distance should be, before it starts display, the left side, there should be space of 50%. Top 150%. Okay. So let's change position to relative and you see. Relative. Hmm? Position relatives. So we have saved our content, we have refreshed. The same. Is the setting we have done is still there. 50 and then 150 is still there. So relative cost of our setting is still, the setting is still applying to that paragraph. Okay. How did I do? Okay, so class equals to offset. Okay, so by here, position relative. Okay, so I mean I have not changed it. Relative, so let's change it to absolute. Absolute. Okay. This is how it is as relative, the two paragraphs. Okay. All right. So there's some movement. Absolute. Absolute. Okay. Relative. Relatives. Relatives. Okay. All right. So that we demonstrated absolute with some settings, relatives with some settings, and that is telling you that those things can be applied to other paragraphs, okay? Span can be applied to div tag, any other tags. Okay. Yeah, I cannot see the, let's see the text clearly in our text editor. Okay. We want to demonstrate fixed place position. Face position. Okay, that's what we want to demonstrate. So now we are going to add our body, the body content. The body content start from here. This is a body content. Because of space, this one we cannot increase it. Okay. All right. Save as that is 10. That is 10.html. Okay. That is 10.html. Okay, so we are concerned about the CSS. Okay, CSS start from here. Now we have set an ID link, ID main. Okay. For ID links, we say position fixed. Position fixed, border dotted, border color black, width 20%, height 100%, Z index 1, left 0, top 0. So the distance from the whatever should be 0. Background color is also set. For the second one, class main, position absolute, left 25%, up 0%, width 70%. So those are the property and values that we have set within the star. Then we, for the first div in the body tag, the first div, we have 2 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs. And then ID main is reference. ID main. So we want this to apply to these 2 paragraphs. And the second div, we say ID link. Link. ID equals to links. We have a paragraph, then we have a URL on order list. An order list. So now, since we don't have page 1, page 2.html, we'll change it to our page labeling. Our page labeling, we are using practice 1. Practice 1.html. Practice 2.html. Practice 3.html. Practice 4.html. We have practice 5.html. We are setting link. Remember how you set link, right? A tag, href will mention the file name to link. And this is the text that will be displayed to the website visitor. And you close your anchor tag. Anchor tag. So, and look at that. We've nested the link within lead tag. Lead tag is nested within UL tag on other lists. Okay. Okay, now practice 10. Let's see how it looks. Practice 10. Wow. You see that? This area is fixed. It's fixed, it will never move. And it is used for navigation. It's used for navigation. So if I say page 1 is open, page 2. No, sir, page 3, open. That was when we were discussing table. Page 4, table. When we were discussing table. All right, page 4, it's tables again. Page 5, when we're designing form. We have done a lot of forms. So that is it not neat? So let's see the impact of our star. Diff, ID link. ID link, this app, this is what we have set. It's a position fix. Border dotted. Border dotted. Have you seen the border around it? Dotted. Border dotted. Border color, black. Width, 20%. So 20% of the space. So that means the remaining is 80%. Where the is white is 80%. Height, 100%. So you should cover all the browser, your page, the screen. Z index 1. I'll come to Z index. Left 0, top 0. So there shouldn't be distance from the top and from the left. We should cover it. Background color, yellow. Yes, that is the yellow. Now for the main, we have these two paragraphs. So ID is reference for the div tag. You can see the two paragraphs. Hello.
Hello, madam.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
No, madam.
Yes.
Okay. I was light off here. We just came back again.
Sorry.
Okay. So we just finished with the relative and absolute. And this is the output of our last demonstration. Okay, so this is the output of the last demonstration. Neatly designed. Okay, neatly designed. Okay. So now, we're going to look at CSS, the Z index. Z index. Earlier, we stated that during the box model, we stated that when the browser on a page, it places it into an invisible rectangular space. Okay, the bounding box. So that was the idea and of the concept of the box model. You can set the box's exact location on the page or offset it from other objects on the page using the relative or absolute position of fixed. So we can just say that using the positioning element, we can set the box exact location on the page or offset it from other objects on the page. Okay, so those are the two. You see how all are related. On the box model, then we went to positioning. Okay. You can also specify the size of the box, where we're saying that the size should be width, using the width and the height. We have done all those things. With CSS, these boxes can be stacked one on top of another as layers. Horizontal and vertical position happen along the X and Y axis during stacking. So whatever you are stacking, you realize that it's, since it's to be coming on top of the other, we're saying that the vertical positioning and the horizontal positioning, it will happen along the X and Y axis. Okay, so if you consider your graphs mathematics, you know Y-axis is up there. Okay, X-axis is horizontal. Okay. Now, this will enable you to understand the concept of the Z index. Okay, the Z index. The Z axis is set using the CSS star Z index, the Z. So in between the X-axis and the Y-axis, we have the Z axis. We have the Z axis. So the Z axis is set using CSS Z index. or Z index. And this allows you to specify which layers appear on top of the other. Which object do you want to stack on top of the other? You use the Z index. If you set the Z index higher or lower, you can set them higher or lower. And this will enable the stacking to take place. Even from negative number, you can set the Z index value. This means that an object can move up and down and stack. If it's higher, the object will move on top. If it's lower, the object will move below an existing object. Okay? The higher the Z index, the more on top it is. So that's what you should know from the beginning. The value of the Z index, the higher it is, okay, the closer is it to the top. So looking at the diagram again, okay, we have stacked 3 objects here, 3 objects. The topmost object will have a Z index value higher than the rest, okay? All right. So the same thing I've written here, okay. So now we're going to look at the explanation I did so far. The explanation we had so far, okay? Let's say this is our CSS. This is the CSS. At the head section. At the body, we reference them. Dot over is a class. And in it, we have several properties and their values. Dot under is a class. In it, we have several classes and properties and values. Okay. In the body, we have referenced them. For the first paragraph, we say class equals under. So that means the content of the paragraph will have these properties. The second one, we say class equals over. That is the name we give to it. It will also have these properties, over. Okay. When we look at over, we have set font family, font size, color. Color means the font color. We don't say font color, we just say color. Background color is also set. Border is set. Position is absolute. Left 40%. Distance from the left 40%. Top, distance from the top 5%. And then we said the Z index is 2. Z index is 2. Then the second one, Z index is 1. Okay, Z index is 1. Okay, all right. So who can tell me which one of the paragraph here will come to the top? All right, it's already displayed, sorry. It's already displayed, so it's not a question again. You realize that the over one will display first because of the Z index 2. That will be at the top. You can see the content. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. So it came on top of the other paragraph. Even though it is the other paragraph was written first. The other paragraph display under because of Z index is 1. The value 1 is less than the 2. Okay. The higher the Z index, the closer to the top it is. All right. Now, with this second example, we try to change the Z value. We change the Z value to from 2 to 1. And this one now from 1 to 2. Okay. So that you see how the two look like. Okay. So I cannot type all this now. So it's just a demonstration. But Z index to alter the display of elements in the color block sample. Okay, color block sample. The color block sample that we did earlier, we're going to add the ID1, D1. We are going to add Z index 0 to it. Then we'll go to ID2, we add Z index equals to 3. This one, Z index equals to 2. Okay. D4, Z index equals 1. Okay. All right. So that's, let's take one of the color block we did earlier. That is 7. With the D1, D2, up to D4. That is 7. Okay. So I'm going to resave practice 7. We are saving it as practice 11 now. 11 dots. No, practice 7. So I'll make it practice 7B. Practice 7B. Dot HTML. Okay, practice 7B dot HTML. All right. The same code, but we are going to add the Z index to D1. So D1 will say Z index 0. Z index 0. Yeah, Z index 0. Okay. D2, Z index 3. D2. So this is our D2. Z index is 3. This is D3. Z index is 2. And
Madam,
then
please, the first Z index, you left the PX attached to the 0.
okay, I'm coming. This one, Z index is what? 4. The last one is 4. The first one, okay. Thank you. So we have added Z index to it. So now we'll open the 7, then you open the 11, 7B. We open the 7 first. This is how it is, 7, without the Z index. Now let's open 7B. 7B with the Z index. Okay. I didn't save, right? What happened? I've saved. This is the 7B. I saved, So these are 7B. We expect to see stacking. Stacking We have to, let's check the code again. Okay. Z indices to, and here to is 2, 1. 7B.
Madam,
Yes.
what about if we set the position to absolute?
Yeah. It's supposed to be absolute too. Where's the position? Background. This is the D1. And no position. That's why. We didn't set the position. Property. Yeah. Yeah. The position is not set because instead of using this code, I went to receive to use. Only this line is not added to our changing. Font with both text align center. Font with both margin. Okay, the code is all different. Text align center. All right, let me just add the position to this. The div tag. We want all of them to have position absolute. So add it to the div tag. All right. Color. Okay. See in this example. So that is our 7B. So let's reopen 7B. 7B. Okay. All right. T1. Color green, we can't see it. Blue, we can't. Color yellow is what we are seeing. Color yellow is what we are seeing. Okay. D1 to D4. Div position absolute with right. All right. So that is the example I'm using. We are seeing the D4 because the stacking. What is it? Sorry, the code. The stacking for D4 is the Z index is 4. That's why it is at the top. That's why it's at the top. The others, we are not seeing it because it has covered them. Okay. So if I try to, let's use what we have here. What we have here, we have div D1 0, color red, left 0, top 0. Okay. Adding whatever It's the file I've received is wrong. Okay, that's what I know. So we want to use this one, D1, for our new tag, so that you can see the impact of the stacking on the div to D1, D to D1. Yes. We have D2 to D3. D2 to D3. Yes. And we have D4. D4. D4 start from here. All right. D4 start from here. Then we have our star. Also, the body tag is not closed. It's not set. The body CSS is not set. Okay. 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 So refresh this one. Okay. So this is the what we have now. So looking at what we have, div number 2. Div number 2 is like it's at the top. It's at the top. This one remain there. Div 2. We expect D1 color red to be down. Left 0, top 0. So color 1 to be down. All right. So the down one is div 1. Okay. Z in the 0. Okay. Then D2. D2 is 3. Z index is 3, color green. Okay. D2, okay. Then we have D3, color blue. Z index is 2. So color blue is on top of D1 because of the value 2. Then the Z index equals to 1. It's on top of 0, the one with the 0. So D1 will be followed by color yellow, will be followed by color 3, which is, sorry, Z index 3, which is green. Then we expect the yellow one. The yellow is also Z index 1. Z index 1. Okay. That's why the topmost is what? 3. The one with the Z index 3. With color green, that is the top one, because it has the highest Z index value, which is 3. So under it, we'll have the one with the 2, which is blue. Under it, under the blue, we have the one with 1, yellow. The yellow will be on top of the one with Z index 0, red, stacking. So the element, they are stacked on top of the other. So here, the ID is working for them. because we say hashtag D4 is for D4. Okay. It is correct now. It's stacking. So then this. This arrow is saying that it continues. Yeah, it's on all of them. It continues up to D4. It's continuing up to D4. Hello.
Madam,
Yes.
please, can I also use negative values instead of positives?
Yeah, you can use. You can use negative values. You know, negative is still lower than 0, right?
Yes, madam.
You can use negative value.
Okay, meaning negative 1 will be on top of negative 2.
Yes. So you can try that one when you go. Okay?
Yes, madam.
So I've moved these two together on one page. Okay. All right, so those are examples. Okay. All right. Earlier we look at image. We look at image. So this example should go with the image, dealing with image. Span and div tag. Span is inline. Div is block level elements. And you can see how we have applied div here. Div with D1. It's block level element. Okay, span is also applied somewhere. Span. Okay. A class and an ID and a span and div. So in this example, we have applied div CSS to div here. CSS to div. And then the style is also embedded here. Style. Hash bright text dot. Okay. ID class. ID class. Perenco blue text. Okay. So we reference it here. ID is referenced here. Okay. Span. So within the span tag, okay. So this is how the style will look like. Okay. If you go, you can try this one. We differentiated between the span and the div tag. And we gave example here. We gave example. Another example. Okay, another example here. Span and div tag. All right. So this is self-assessment again. Self-assessment. I think the self-assessment is from last week. The school wished to design a website. And then we have 3 questions there. Let me see this one. So this is brother. This is brother. The school has approached you to advise them on how this may be possible. Want you to explain the process you wish to use and why it is better than letter. Okay. So let's see whether it's the same. Consider the background color. Okay. So this is so what I want us to do is that last week we said this is a group assignment. Group assignment. Okay. The practical week, that is when you present your assignment. Okay. The practical week. Is it next week?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Practical week is when you produce, you present your assignment, okay? So now, you doing the assignment, I want it to be like this, the layout. Use this layout. Use this layout. So if you are 4 in a group, okay? After doing the assignment using the link should be, what is the course rep name? Ima, right? Ima, you were to design your resume. You have to design your resume. So we want a link like this. You should, if you are 5 in a group, okay, 5 in a group. For the individual assignment, you have Ima.
Hey, madam.
Hello.
Hey, hello, madam.
I can hear you.
Yes, I thought you wanted to know whether I'm around.
Not that.
Okay.
Not that.
Okay.
I'm saying that I was asking about when is a practical week, and somebody answered next week.
Yes, please.
So if it is next week, so I'm just demonstrating how your assignment should be like for next week.
Okay.
So individual assignments were 2. Individual assignments were 2. So for the individual assignment, you should link them together. So if you are Ima, okay? Ima,
yes.
Yeah. Let me demonstrate it again. So if you are in this group and you are 5, I want to see Emmanuel here with the link, so that when I click the link, I will see all your assignments, individual assignment there. Okay. When I click another person in your group, when I click another person, if John is in your group, so I want to see John here, so that when I click on John, I'll be able to see John's individual assignment up to all the group members. Okay. All right. So this should be something like your index page. This will be your index page with title. Then your group members, I should see their picture at the on the home page. Okay. All right. So maybe I will rephrase it and send to you. So I'll tell you that using this as a template, each of you save it as your home page. You can change their color. You can change the color. So home page is saved as index.html. Index.html. So this is how it will look like. Then each person individual assignment will be listed here, and we can click on it and view easily. Then the group work is on last week page. Group work, group assignment 1. Design the website. Write the 3-level style sheet required to start the pages. Consider the background color, departmental culture, the table, etc. Something that will make your website unique. Any question? Okay. So it's almost time. You have another class at 11, right?
Yes, please.
So let's say I can also take you through layout. Not layout, like framework. Framework. And how to develop responsive website using framework. Using framework. Okay. Framework are just a template. I don't know the equity. Responsive. Responsive website is here. Okay. This will be another lecture. Okay. This will be another lecture. So maybe you find another day so that we'll do this one. It's already 10:40. Or we should continue.
I was thinking we might not be able to finish. So if possible, it's just a suggestion, if possible, within the course of the week. But I don't know if you would like to meet us next weekend.
Okay, next weekend will be fine.
Okay.
All right. So next weekend we'll look at responsive websites and to also help in your assignment. Because some of the it will help you with your assignment so that you submit the following week then. Okay. So you see something like Bootstrap, how to design within the Bootstrap. All right. So next week, by God's grace. Yes. Okay. Any question again? Do you have any question? Okay. In the absence of no question, close today's lecture. We end today's lecture. So see you next week by God's grace. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
Bye.
Bye, madam. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Also, please, has the group been formed?
No, please. I've not heard anything about that from her.
Then, if you can kindly check out from her, please. For next week, you just have to a very short time.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll.
But I think from what she just said, it's like she has to meet us next week. Then we submit the assignment the following week.
Yes, exactly that.
So it means we are not submitting the assignment next week.
No.
But next week to do is practical, so
Yes, but she has been doing both at the same time, the practicals and that of the theory. And she wanted to complete her last lecture, and she was requesting if we could arrange within the weekend. We feel since next week is there, we can still make it next weekend.
yeah.
Yes.
But you see, she made emphasis on next week being the practical week. That's what she asked and
No, I
wanted us
think
to
it was
submit.
someone. It was someone rather who reminded her that next week is for practicals. That is why she said, okay, she will meet us next week. Because Yima was asking if she could make it within the week. And she said Saturday will be okay for her.
Well, please, I would like to know if next week actually is on the timetable, the practical week.
That is exactly what we have on the schedule.
Please, do you have the access to the timetable or
So
not?
after the practical week, I think the following week is quiz week.
Yes.
Start quiz. Okay.
The following week, you are just submitting it. You are not going to do presentation.
Okay.
It's just like the way we normally do maybe this drawing practical. So we are going to the centers, we send it. This one probably we just submit online.
Okay. Okay.